First strike. The Valari warships emerged from hyperspace like a school of metallic leviathans, their silver hulls reflecting the sun's light across Earth's atmosphere. Admiral Kenneth Thompson stood at the reinforced windows of Luna Base Command, her weathered face illuminated by the gleaming fleet above. 20 years of preparing for first contact, and humanity got exactly what the pessimists had feared: an invasion force. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Admiral. Lieutenant Chen reported from his station. Text and audio, translated into every major Earth language. Thompson nodded, her gray eyes never leaving the nearest Valari dreadnought. Let's hear their demands. The voice that filled the command center was deeper than human vocal cords could produce, yet unnaturally smooth, clearly synthetic. People of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Vextol of the Valari Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our perfect society. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate our technological superiority. You have one planetary rotation to surrender your governing bodies to Valari control. Thompson allowed herself a small smile. Perfect timing. Status of Project Aegis. Colonel Sarah Martinez stepped forward, her dark eyes gleaming. All 15 shield generators are at full power, Admiral. The energy grid is stable and synchronized. We can activate the planetary defense system at your command. And they haven't detected anything. No, Mom. The quantum camouflage is holding. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see: a pre-spaceflight civilization with primitive satellite technology and basic military capabilities. Thompson took a deep breath, 20 years of preparation crystallizing into this moment. Project Aegis had been humanity's greatest secret, a network of quantum-link shield generators buried deep beneath the Earth's surface, capable of creating an impenetrable energy barrier around the entire planet. The technology had seemed impossible when Dr. Elena Santos first proposed it, but necessity and unity had driven innovation beyond all expectations. Send the response we prepared. Let's show them what humanity can do when we work together. The United Earth Council's message was brief. We decline your generous offer. Earth belongs to humanity. The reaction was immediate. The Valari ships launched their first salvo, streams of plasma energy that could melt through conventional shields like butter. Thompson watched calmly as the attacks approached Earth's atmosphere. Aegis grid activated, Martinez announced. The sky lit up with a spectacular aurora as the plasma bolts struck an invisible barrier, their energy dispersing harmlessly across the quantum shield. Through the command center's windows, Thompson could see the Valari ships adjusting their positions, likely confused by the unexpected defense. They're launching kinetic penetrators, Chen reported. Massive tungsten rods accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. Let them waste their ammunition, Thompson replied. The shield's true genius lay in its quantum nature. It didn't just block attacks, it redirected their energy to strengthen itself. The more the Valari threw at Earth, the stronger humanity's defenses became. The next transmission from Supreme Commander Vextol carried an edge of frustration. Your primitive defenses cannot hold forever. The Valari Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds. Submit now, and we will be merciful. Thompson keyed the comm system. This is Admiral Kenneth Thompson of the United Earth Defense Force. Perhaps you should consider that those 1,000 worlds didn't have 20 years to prepare for you. Humanity may appear primitive, but appearances can be deceiving. We're giving you one chance to withdraw. The response was another barrage, this time combining antimatter weapons with gravitational distortion beams. The quantum shield absorbed it all, its aurora growing brighter with each impact. In the command center, Dr. Santos' hologram appeared, her silver hair shimmering with excitement. The shield is performing beyond expectations, Admiral. Energy absorption is at 200% of projected capacity. We could power Earth's cities for a year with what they've given us. Thompson nodded. Time to show them our second surprise. Colonel Martinez, deploy the Artemis platforms. Hidden in Earth's orbit, disguised as defunct satellites, The Artemis weapons platforms had been humanity's insurance policy. As they shed their camouflage, their true forms became apparent, sleek, dark structures bristling with quantum-based weaponry reverse-engineered from the shield technology. Platforms online, Martins reported. Targeting solutions ready. Target their primary weapon systems only, Thompson ordered. Let's show some restraint. We're not here to conquer, just to defend. The Artemis platforms fired in perfect synchronization. Beams of concentrated quantum energy sliced through the Valari shift shields as if they weren't there, precisely disabling their weapon systems while leaving the rest of the vessels intact. Supreme Commander Vextel's next transmission showed the alien leader standing straighter, mandibles twitching in what Thompson assumed was agitation. Impossible. Your species was assessed as pre-spaceflight. How did you develop this technology? You made the mistake of assuming that because we hadn't spread across the stars, we couldn't, Thompson replied. Humanity chose to focus our resources differently. We united not for conquest, but for defense. Everything you see now was built with one purpose: protecting Earth from threats like you. A new voice cut in, another Valari, but wearing different insignia. Supreme Commander, the Council of Elders is demanding an update. Our losses. They want to know how a single planet could resist our fleet. Thompson allowed herself another small smile. The mighty Galactic Empire was about to learn an important lesson. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation when backed into a corner. As she watched the Valari fleet hanging motionless above Earth, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as defenders of freedom and sovereignty. The next few hours would determine whether the Galactic Empire would become humanity's greatest enemy or its first alien ally. Either way, Earth had proved it would not be conquered. The age of human isolation was over, and the galaxy would never be the same. The hidden edge. In the depths of Luna Base Command's restricted Section 0, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a wall of quantum displays, each showing real-time neural patterns of the sentinel pilots. The room hummed with the subtle vibration of quantum processors, technology that had revolutionized human computing and made their current defensive capabilities possible. Neural synchronization at optimal levels, she reported, watching as the pilots' brainwave patterns aligned with their ship's quantum cores. All 20 Sentinel units ready for deployment. The Sentinels were humanity's masterpiece, ships that blended organic and mechanical components with quantum computing cores. Each vessel was more than just a ship. It was an extension of its pilot's consciousness, responding to thought faster than any conventional control system could achieve. Admiral Thompson's voice came through the comm system. The Valari are mobilizing their secondary fleet. 300 ships incoming. Time to show them what the Sentinels can do. Dr. Patel nodded to her team, initiating neural handshake protocols. In their specialized chambers, the 20 pilots closed their eyes as their minds merged with their ships. The neural interface system had been inspired by the human brain's own architecture, billions of quantum connections working in perfect harmony. What had started as a medical breakthrough in neural mapping had evolved into humanity's greatest military advantage. Captain Diana Chen, leader of the Sentinel Squadron, felt her consciousness expand as she joined with her ship. The neural link translated complex battle calculations into pure instinct, making the massive vessel feel as natural as her own body. Around her, she sensed her fellow pilots linking up, their shared quantum network creating a battle consciousness unlike anything in human history. Sentinel Squadron, deploy, Thompson ordered. The hangar doors beneath the lunar surface opened, revealing 20 ships that defied conventional design. Their hulls rippled with patterns that mimicked synaptic connections, quantum energy pulsing through artificial neurons. As they rose from the lunar surface, they moved with an organic grace that made the Valari ships look primitive and mechanical in comparison. Supreme Commander Vextel's voice crackled through the comm. More deceptions. Your handful of ships cannot stand against our Armada. Those aren't just ships, Commander, Thompson replied. They're the next step in human evolution, a perfect fusion of mind and machine. The Valari fleet emerged from hyperspace, their ships arranged in traditional combat formations. They clearly expected a conventional space battle. They weren't prepared for what the Sentinels could do. Captain Chen didn't need to issue verbal commands. Through the neural network, her squadron moved as one organism, each ship anticipating the other's actions. The Sentinels accelerated toward the Valari fleet, their quantum drives bending space in ways that made their movements appear to defy physics. The first Valari shots passed through empty space as the Sentinels seemed to think themselves out of harm's way. The neural interface translated spatial awareness into pure intuition. The pilots didn't need to see the attacks coming. They could feel them before they happened. "Show them what we can do," Chen thought, and her squadron responded instantly. The Sentinels danced through the Valari formation, their quantum weapons striking with surgical precision. Unlike the brute force approach of the Artemis platforms, these attacks were sophisticated, elegant. Each shot disabled key systems, transformed enemy weapons into useless metal, or redirected shield energy back against the Valari ships. In the command center, Dr. Patel monitored the neural feeds with pride. The quantum computing revolution had changed everything, not just military technology, but human understanding itself. The ability to process information at the quantum level had led to breakthroughs in consciousness, physics, and the fundamental nature of reality. "Their ships are coordinating better than any AI," a Valari officer transmitted, fear evident in their voice. "It's like fighting against a single entity." They weren't far wrong. Through the neural network, the Sentinel pilots shared not just tactical information, but experience, intuition, and awareness. Each pilot's skills enhanced the others, creating a battlefield awareness that no conventional force could match. Supreme Commander Vextol's next transmission was more measured. "Your technology. It's unlike anything in our database. How did you advance so far without being detected?" Admiral Thompson stepped into view of the video feed. "Because we weren't trying to be detected, Commander. Earth's isolation wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a choice. We used our resources to understand ourselves, to push the boundaries of human potential. These ships aren't just weapons. They're proof of what humanity can achieve when we focus on advancement rather than expansion." The battle continued, but it was already clear the Valari were outmatched. Their ships moved like clockwork, predictable and mechanical. The Sentinels flowed like water, their quantum-enhanced pilots rewriting the rules of space combat with every maneuver. In her neural chamber, Captain Chen felt a strange emotion from the quantum network, not victory or pride, but something closer to hope. Humanity had created this technology not just to defend Earth, but to understand themselves better. The neural interfaces, the quantum computing, the fusion of mind and machine. It was all part of humanity's journey to transcend their limitations. As the Valari fleet began to retreat, Dr. Patel turned to her quantum displays with renewed purpose. This wasn't just a victory in battle. It was proof that humanity's path of internal development, rather than external expansion, had been the right choice. They had created something entirely new, something that could change the course of galactic civilization. The age of quantum-enhanced humanity had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Counter-offensive. General Marcus Rodriguez stood in the holographic war room of the UES Hyperion, watching as three-dimensional star maps tracked the retreating Valari fleet. After their defeat at Earth, the alien Armada had withdrawn to their staging area in the Proxima Centauri system. But Rodriguez knew they wouldn't stay defensive for long. Empires like the Valari didn't accept defeat easily. "Time to take the fight to them," he announced to his assembled commanders. Operation Lightspeed is a go. The plan had been decades in development, created alongside the defensive technologies that had protected Earth. Humanity had long suspected that first contact might not be peaceful, and they had prepared accordingly. The Hyperion itself was proof of that preparation. Earth's first proper warship, built in secret beneath the surface of Mars. Lieutenant Sarah O'Neill, The ship's tactical officer brought up the detailed battle plans. The Valari are expecting us to stay defensive, to huddle behind our quantum shield. They won't anticipate an offensive from a species they still consider technologically inferior. Rodriguez nodded. That's exactly what we're counting on. Status of the stealth systems. The quantum camouflage is holding, Chief Engineer Raj Patel reported. As far as their sensors are concerned, we don't exist. We're just another piece of space debris. The Hyperion represented a different approach to space warfare than the Sentinels. While the smaller ships relied on neural interfaces and agility, the Hyperion was built for stealth and strategic strikes. Its quantum engines could bend light around the hull, making it virtually invisible, while its advanced AI could predict and counter enemy movements before they happened. All hands, battle stations, Rodriguez ordered. Begin Phase 1. Across the ship, crews moved with practiced efficiency. The Hyperion's massive quantum core hummed to life, energy flowing through systems that would have seemed like magic to humanity just a few decades ago. In the engine room, Patel's team prepared the revolutionary fold drive, a propulsion system that could create localized wrinkles in spacetime itself. The ship accelerated silently through the void, approaching the Valari fleet from an impossible angle, directly above the ecliptic plane where no natural object should be. Thanks to the fold drive, they moved without generating the telltale distortions of conventional faster-than-light travel. Multiple Valari signatures ahead, O'Neill reported. They're maintaining standard patrol patterns. No indication they've detected us. Rodriguez allowed himself a grim smile. Deploy the quantum mines. The Hyperion's automated systems released clouds of microscopic devices, each one containing a tiny quantum processor. As they spread out among the Valari fleet, they began networking, creating an invisible web of sensors and weapons. Unlike conventional mines, these devices could think, move, and cooperate, turning the very space around the enemy ships into a weapon. Phase 1 complete, O'Neill announced. Quantum mine network is online and awaiting activation. Begin Phase 2, Rodriguez ordered. Alert the Sentinel squadron to prepare for their jump. Thousands of kilometers away, Captain Chen and her Sentinel pilots received the signal. Their ships had been modified for this operation, equipped with new quantum processors that could interface with the mine network. The pilots closed their eyes, joining their consciousness not just with their ships, but with the entire battlefield. The Hyperion decloaked directly in front of the Valari command ship, its sudden appearance causing chaos in the enemy fleet. Before they could react, Rodriguez opened a channel to Supreme Commander Vextal. This is General Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. Your empire made a crucial mistake. You assumed that because we chose peace, we didn't know war. Allow us to correct that assumption. He gave the signal, and the quantum mines activated. But instead of exploding, they began to manipulate spacetime itself, creating a complex network of gravitational distortions. Valari ships found themselves unable to maneuver properly, their engines fighting against invisible forces that seemed to defy physics. The Sentinel squadron arrived next, emerging from quantum space at precise coordinates within the mine network. Through their neural interfaces, the pilots could see the gravitational web like a giant three-dimensional chessboard, using the distortions to enhance their own maneuvers while they trapped and disabled the enemy ships. Impossible. Vextal's voice crackled through the comm. You cannot have mastered quantum gravity manipulation to this degree. You're still thinking in terms of conventional physics, Rodriguez replied. Humanity learned to think differently. We had to survive species like yours. The battle that followed was unlike anything in military history. The Sentinel ships danced through the quantum minefield, using the gravitational distortions like solar winds beneath their sails. Each disabled Valari vessel was quickly contained in a quantum stasis field, preventing both escape and unnecessary destruction. In the Hyperion's war room, Rodriguez watched the tactical display with satisfaction. This wasn't just a victory, it was a demonstration. Humanity wasn't interested in conquest or destruction. They had developed these technologies for precise, strategic defense, not wholesale slaughter. "Sir," O'Neill reported, "we're detecting quantum communications between the Valari ships. They're standing down." Supreme Commander Vextel's image appeared on the main screen, his posture notably different from their first encounter. "General Rodriguez, the Valari Empire requests a cessation of hostilities. Perhaps we have something to learn from humanity after all." Rodriguez shared a look with his commanders. This was the moment they had truly prepared for, not just victory in battle, but the chance to change the galaxy's paradigm of warfare and expansion. "We're willing to discuss terms, Commander," he replied. "But first, we need to talk about those 1,000 worlds you've conquered. Humanity believes in defense, not just of ourselves, but of all those who wish to be free." The quantum mines continued their silent dance through space, a testament to human innovation and restraint. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth's isolation hadn't been a weakness. It had been an incubator for a completely new way of thinking about technology, consciousness, and the nature of power itself. The heart of Empire. Dr. Elena Santos walked through the crystalline corridors of the Valari Central Archive Station, her quantum implant translating the alien text floating in the air around her. To any Valari observers, she appeared as one of their own bureaucrats, her personal quantum field generator creating a perfect holographic disguise. The technology had been adapted from the same principles that powered Earth's planetary shield. Beside her, Lieutenant James Chen, similarly disguised, monitored the station's security systems through his neural interface. Their mission was simple but crucial: understand the true nature of the Valari Empire before negotiations could proceed. "Security patrol approaching," Chen subvocalized, the words appearing in Santos's augmented vision. "Right corridor." They turned left, their movements precise and purposeful. The quantum disguise technology didn't just change their appearance, it altered their gait and mannerisms to match Valari patterns perfectly. Weeks of studying alien behavioral data had paid off. Santos accessed a data terminal, her quantum implant bypassing the security systems with ease. The Valari's digital defenses, while advanced by most standards, were no match for technology built on human quantum computing principles. "Found something," she transmitted to Chen. "Archaeological records. The Valari. They weren't always like this." The files revealed a startling truth. The Valari Empire hadn't begun as a conquering force. 1,000 years ago, they had been peaceful explorers, seeking to unite the galaxy through cultural exchange and shared knowledge. But something had changed. "More security coming," Chen warned. "We need to move." Santos downloaded the crucial files to her quantum storage device as they made their way to the next section. The station's layout was massive, a testament to the Empire's bureaucratic nature. Every conquest, every subjugated world, generated endless records and reports. In a secure archive room, Santos found what they were really looking for. "Project Eternal," she read, her implant decoding the highest level encryption. "Chen, this is it. The reason for everything." The files told a dark story. 500 years ago, the Valari had discovered something that changed their civilization forever. A quantum anomaly that seemed to predict the galaxy's future. The anomaly showed them a coming darkness, an extinction-level threat to all life. In their fear, the Valari made a terrible choice. They believe the only way to survive is to control everything. Santos transmitted to the mission command. "They're not conquering worlds out of greed or hatred. They're trying to unite the galaxy by force to prepare for some future catastrophe." Chen accessed another terminal, pulling up military records. "Look at these deployment patterns. They're not just building an empire. They're fortifying the galaxy itself. Every conquered world becomes another defensive position." "Security breach detected in Sector 7. A Valari voice echoed through the station's comm system. "All units respond." "Time to go," Chen said, but Santos held up a hand. "Wait, one more file. Something about Earth. Her eyes widened as she read. They knew about us, long before the invasion. They'd been watching Earth for centuries, monitoring our development. We weren't chosen for conquest randomly. They detected our quantum research. They were afraid we'd discover the same anomaly they did. Alarms blared through the station as security forces converged on their position. Chen pulled up a tactical display in his neural interface. Main exits blocked. But I have another idea. He interfaced with the station's systems, his quantum processors working through possibilities faster than any conventional computer. Remember those gravity manipulations we used in the space battle? The same principles should work here. Santos nodded, understanding immediately. Their quantum field generators could do more than just disguise them. They could bend local space-time itself. As Valari security forces burst into the archive room, Santos and Chen seemed to step sideways out of reality, reappearing 2 decks up near their extraction point. Admiral Thompson, Santos transmitted to the cloaked human ship waiting outside the station. Mission accomplished, but you need to hear this. The Valari, they're not what we thought. This isn't just about conquest. They're preparing for something big enough to frighten an entire empire into becoming what they feared most. As their extraction ship accelerated away from the station, Santos reviewed the stolen files. The Valari's quantum anomaly had shown them something coming from intergalactic space, a threat beyond their comprehension. In their desperation to prepare, they had become the very force of oppression they had once fought against. The peace negotiations just got more complicated, Chen observed. Santos nodded. But maybe that's exactly why humanity needed to get involved. We found a different way to advance, to defend ourselves without losing our principles. Perhaps we can show the Valari another path, one that doesn't require sacrificing freedom for security. The files about Earth were particularly revealing. The Valari had watched human civilization develop, seen them choose cooperation over conquest, innovation over expansion. Deep in their records, some Valari scientists had even suggested learning from Earth rather than conquering it. Those voices had been ignored. As their ship entered quantum space, Santos couldn't help but feel that humanity's role in the galaxy had just become far more important than anyone had imagined. They hadn't just defeated a hostile empire. They had discovered a civilization trapped by its own fears, and perhaps a threat that would require all species to work together to survive. The real challenge was just beginning. Dawn of Unity. The great hall of the Valari High Council chamber stretched toward a crystalline dome that offered a view of the swirling purple nebula beyond. Admiral Thompson stood before the assembled council, her formal United Earth uniform standing in stark contrast to the ornate robes of the Valari leadership. The data from Santos and Chen's mission was displayed in shimmering holograms around them. "So now do you know the truth of our actions," High Chancellor Mexar said, his aged scales reflecting the holographic light. "The quantum anomaly shows clearly what approaches, a threat that could end all civilization as we know it." "We understand your fear," Thompson replied, "but your response to it has only weakened the galaxy's ability to face this threat. Every world you conquered is a potential ally lost. Every culture suppressed is a unique perspective that could help us survive." The chamber erupted in murmurs as the quantum projectors displayed the evidence of humanity's technological achievements. The planetary shield, the neural interfaces, the quantum computing breakthroughs, all developed not through conquest, but through cooperation and focused innovation. "Your species achieved in decades what took us centuries," Supreme Commander Vextal admitted, standing at Thompson's side. His presence there was itself a symbol of change. He had become convinced that the Valari's path of conquest was wrong. "And you did it without sacrificing your principles." Dr. Santos stepped forward, her quantum implant interfacing with the Council's systems to display new data. "We've analyzed your quantum anomaly readings. Yes, there is something coming from intergalactic space, but your interpretation was flawed. It's not necessarily an attack. It's a wave of quantum disturbances that could either destroy civilizations or transform them." The council chamber filled with startled exclamations as Santos showed her calculations. Humanity's approach to quantum physics, viewing it as a tool for understanding consciousness and reality itself, not just a weapon, gives us a unique perspective. We don't need to fight this change. We need to understand it, adapt to it, grow with it. And how do you propose we do this? Asked Counselor Zexna, her skepticism evident. Thompson gestured, and the holograms shifted to show a new proposal, one that had been developed jointly by human and sympathetic Valari scientists over the past weeks. We're calling it the Quantum Concordat, a new kind of alliance, built not on military might, but on shared knowledge and mutual defense. The plan was ambitious: transform the Valari Empire's network of conquered worlds into a cooperative federation of free planets, each contributing their unique insights and abilities. The Valari's military expertise would be repurposed for genuine defense, while humanity's quantum innovations would be shared with all member worlds. Your own records show that forced unity breeds resistance, Chen added, displaying data from various occupied worlds. But willing cooperation multiplies strength. Each world you've conquered has something valuable to offer, if they're allowed to offer it freely. High Chancellor Mexar stood, his ancient eyes studying the humans before him. You speak of cooperation, yet your technologies surpass ours in many ways. What prevents you from becoming the very thing we became? Rulers rather than partners. Because we understand something your empire forgot, Thompson replied. True strength doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from helping them grow, from combining different perspectives to see what none could see alone. As if to emphasize her point, the quantum sensors built into the chamber detected a spike in the anomaly's activity. The holographic displays shifted, showing the approaching wave of quantum disturbances. But now, viewed through the lens of human quantum theory, combined with Valari observational data, new patterns emerge. It's not a weapon, Santos explained, excitement in her voice. It's more like a test, a catalyst for change. The civilizations that survive will be those that can adapt, that can work together to understand and harness these quantum shifts. The council chamber was silent as the implications sank in. The Valari Empire had spent centuries preparing for a war that never needed to be fought. Instead of building weapons, they could have been building bridges. The choice before you was simple, Thompson said into the silence. Continue down the path of conquest and control, fighting against the very nature of quantum reality itself, or join us in creating something new. A civilization ready to face the future not with fear, but with curiosity and hope. One by one, the council members began to signal their agreement. Even the most hardened military commanders could see the wisdom in this new approach. The Valari Empire had been born from fear of extinction. Perhaps it was time for it to be reborn from hope of transcendence. There will be challenges, Vextal warned. Many of our conquered worlds will not trust us, even with humanity's guarantee. Then we'll face those challenges together, Thompson replied. Earth's isolation taught us patience. We'll take the time to do this right. As the council session concluded, and the formal articles of the Quantum Concordat were prepared, Thompson stood with Santos and Chen at a viewport, watching the nebulous colors shift and swirl. It's interesting, Santos mused. We developed all our quantum technology to defend Earth from threats exactly like the Valari. Instead, we ended up showing them a better way to defend against something far bigger. That's the thing about quantum mechanics, Chen replied with a smile. Everything's connected. Every action affects everything else. Maybe that's the real lesson here. Thompson nodded, watching as ships from Earth and the Valari fleet began joint maneuvers, their crews already training together for the challenges ahead. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or victims, but as teachers and partners. The quantum wave was still coming, bringing changes none of them could fully predict. But now, instead of facing it alone, the civilizations of the galaxy would face it together. And in that unity, they would find not just survival, but transformation. The age of isolation was over. The age of quantum unity had begun. The end.